Oh baby, baby, remember AC2 with Ezio so fine, leaping from rooftops, feeling divine. Assassins in Italy stealing the show, but now the series it's sinking so low. Hidden blade, sharp revenge in the air, but lately it's bloated, it just ain't fair. Whoa, whoa. Assassin's Creed, you broke my heart, you lost your speed. Back with black flags, sailing the sea. Pirate adventures, wild and free. Ooh. But now it's grindy, fetch quest galore, microtransactions knocking at the door. What happened to you, my stealthy delight? You're glitchy and bloated, it just ain't right. Shaboom, shaboom. Black flag at shanties, cannons a blast, boarding them ships, having a blast. Edward Kenway with swagger so grand, but Valhalla's endless like quicksand. Origins was fresh with pyramids high, but Odyssey's map is bigger than the sky. Funny how heroes now chat all day long, dialogue wheels spinning where the plot go wrong. Wow, wow, wow. Assassin's Creed, you broke my heart, you lost your speed. Back with black flags, sailing the sea. Pirate adventures, wild and free. Who remember the brotherhood, tight as can be? Now it's RPG stats, level up a tree. Funny, I sync two viewpoints, but fall through the floor. Ubisoft, baby, what you doing this for? Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why. Ezio's charm counters fight in the snow, but modern day plot, it's a no-show, no-go. Wow, wow, wow. Assassin's Creed, fading away to come back to me. Like the good old days. Black flag and AC2, forever my boo, but the new ones, honey, they're making me blue. That's all she wrote. Assassin's Creed, float my boat no more, no more, no more. I'm vibing. Herman, oh, Herman, you're a goddamn fool, Herman. Claymation looking ass, firing top brass, bottom of your class, oh Herman. Stupid Herman. No clue what you're doing, oh Herman. Somehow you have a job, working like a slob. No one likes you, Herman, you suck. Herman loves Horizon, even though it's mid. Now he runs PlayStation like a mark of skid. Herman. Stupid Herman. No clue what you're doing, oh Herman. Somehow you have a job, working like a slob. No one likes you, Herman, you suck. Herman smells like fish, probably eats children. I kinda think he's a lizard. A literal rock would be better. stupid, stupid Herman. Herman, no clue what you're doing, oh Herman. Somehow you have a job, working like a slob. No one likes you, Herman, you suck. Herman, you suck. Herman, you suck.
It's true. It's true. He might be a lizard. I'm just saying you can't prove he's not. You can't. I've tried. I'm just asking questions. I'm just saying lizards tend to run gaming companies poorly. He's run PlayStation poorly. Coincidence? Lines up. It lines up. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Just don't shoot the messenger. Okay? I'm the question asker. I'm just asking questions. How are you guys doing? Everybody doing good? Everybody feeling alive? Feeling good on a Friday? Sparkling thoughts. Give me the hope to go on. Rocking and rolling. We should be able to get to a few pretty decent things today, which should be super, super exciting. Thrilling, dare I say. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Watching from Ireland? Dude, I'm jelly. I'm jelly. My people are from Ireland, my family. Ireland and Scotland. Don't tell my ancestors that. I think it would have upset them. But we are from the land of Guinness. It is true. It is true. I've always wanted to go to Ireland. One day, maybe. One day. No, maybe. I will go one day. I just, I have to set aside a week or two for the Guinness factory because the first day I probably am blacking out. Second day, probably blacking out. Third day, probably spent in the hospital. Fourth day, I probably blacking out again. So I just, I've got to schedule it properly, so I can enjoy it. Trying to be responsible and schedule it reasonably. I think that makes sense. DJ Steph, thank you for the membership to get us going. Thank you. And Gib Honey, thank you for the 5. I need to know now. Please tell me that you can't pause Crimson Desert mid-fight to heal. That was the worst part of Breath of the Wild. That you can't pause the fight. Well, your healing items in Crimson Desert are tied to it's like, I think it's right on the D-pad, so when you're in the fight, just like any other game, you tap that to heal quickly. There is a little cooldown on it, so you can't just mash 15 of them instantaneously. But I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's like you can use one healing item and then different types of healing items or food can be like have a longer cooldown. I don't actually know. But it doesn't work like Breath of the Wild. You remember Breath of the Wild where you had to like open a menu, go tab over to food, and then select the meal? It doesn't work like that. It's much smoother. Much smoother. Kinemansky, thank you for that. Do you need another YouTube mod bingo link in meme Discord? Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that you're not already. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you're not already. Yeah, I don't know why you aren't already. I thought, honestly, transparently, I thought you were a mod. That's my bad. That's my bad. Okay, there you go. Boom. Welcome, Kinemansky, for the becoming a mod. There you go. Boom. Real quick, Damon, thank you for the 10. Might be a little cope, but do you think PlayStation is stopping putting games on PC because they're slightly worried about Xbox? PlayStation knowing something we don't wouldn't surprise me. Well, I guarantee you they have data that we do not have. That's always been the case. Like, there is data somewhere. Some of these memes are good. The queen of the house, my wife, babe, Nikki, my wife. Yes. So like transparently, they do have info we do not have, and that does inform their decisions. So it would not surprise me if if they have some bit of information that's not available to us. Like specifically, I'm sure they have data that shows, for example, that they maybe it could be that maybe it's like they're saying when they track users, when they start on PC, their lifetime spend is lower than they thought. I also think, looking back at the Sean Layden interviews and stuff, the strategy, the thought was that they could start bringing stuff to PC, and that would lead to PC gamers moving to PlayStation. At least some of them would play God of War 2018 on PC and then go buy a PlayStation 5 to play God of War Ragnarok. That was the premise. That was the thesis, right? I don't think that happened in any significant way. PC gamers are PC gamers. Once they've spent $2,000-$3,000 on their gaming PC, they're not going to just move over and start playing exclusively on PlayStation. That's just not how it works. Especially when you're signaling you're going to keep bringing games to PC, they're just going to wait for it to come to PC where it's going to run better, look better. Like, why wouldn't they? And so I think that thesis was proven wrong. And instead, I think it backfired a little bit, because I think a lot of PlayStation players who were kind of frustrated with the lack of first-party exclusives, with the lack of first-party output, period, this generation outside of live service stuff, they're frustrated. And so they were starting to move over to PC because they're like, we're going to get the PlayStation games eventually anyways, and we can get everything else Steam has to offer. Let's move over there. So I think they started to see attrition, or at least people, and it's, to be clear, it's not like they're selling their console. It all has to do with time spent and dollars spent. So their data on the back end, which is how many hours you're logged into your PSN account, how many hours your console is turned on, they have access to all of that. And if they're finding that players are starting to dip because they're moving over to PC, maybe they bought a PC and they have their PS5 on their shelf too, but they're playing a lot more on PC, that even if they're playing a game like Marathon that they own, that still is not ideal, because if they're playing it through Steam, Steam gets a 30% cut of all the microtransactions. They aren't getting PSN revenue from getting them to pay every month for, or annually, I guess, for an online membership. So they're losing out on a lot of money when those people move over to PC. And so I'm thinking that they just have some master data sheet and they looked at it and they're like, it is a net negative on the balance sheet to bring stuff over. So, you know, personally, if I were the God King of gaming, which unfortunately for everybody I'm not, but if I were the God King of gaming, I would make it, get rid of the exclusive things, because I love playing these games on PC. I'd bring it day and date because that's better for me. You're telling me I could play Intergalactic or Wolverine on PC day one on a 5090? Yes, please. But I understand. I'm not the God King of gaming. It's not all about what I want, unfortunately. So it is what it's going to be. But I do think that their decision is probably backed up by a lot of data, most of which we don't have. Yeah, you're not? I know. I'm upset about it too, frankly. Really, really ticked about it, to be honest. Trekkie Dude, thank you for subbing with your Prime over on Twitch, even though the stream isn't up because it's freaking out. I think we may... just to co-stream, we may have to leave restream.io behind. I've done everything. I troubleshooted it. I thought we had it fixed and it's still broken. So we might be leaving it behind. That's too bad. That's too bad. Also, Kinomansky over on the Discord for YouTube members and Twitch subs did put up the bingo. You can actually generate a card and then you can play bingo with us throughout the stream. Okay, I don't know what happens when you get a bingo. I haven't frankly decided yet. I didn't think about it that much, but you can play bingo along with us. So there you go. Did you try turning it off and on and disconnecting, reconnecting? It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, dude. I've tried a lot. And I'm left here like a fool with it not working. Yeah. What are you going to do? Real quick, let me catch up on these. The Nugget 2016. Thank you for the 10 months. Ooh, baby. Hopefully Crimson Desert and Marathon last a while. I spent all my goop on World Cup tickets. Oh my goodness. Dude, I was just talking to my physical therapist for a nerve issue I have yesterday. And he was talking about tickets to like the World Series and to like the Super Bowl and everything, because he was talking about people he knew that went to the Super Bowl. And dude, maybe I'm not a sporty guy, like team sports. I'll watch UFC, golf. I like that stuff, but I'm not a big team sports guy. But the idea of spending like $20,000 on a ticket for the Super Bowl, I cannot fathom that. I can't fathom it. Like, that's so much money to go and barely see what's going on, you know, and then spend $50 for a beer. I just don't get it. There's something, you know, if you enjoy it and it's worth it to you, props. In my head, I can't come up with a situation where I'd be like, that's worth 20 grand. Like, I just don't see it. I just don't get it. Yeah. What are you, a brokey? Apparently. Yeah. I just don't get it. I just do not get it. I'll be honest. There's some of it, like some stuff, you know, like getting nice. Maybe you have a sneaker collection. I don't collect sneakers, but I can understand somebody that does and spends a lot of money on it. Cool. Collecting watches. I collect watches. I love watches. I get that. If you're big into collecting handbags, I get that. But spending tens of thousands of dollars for like a sporting event, I just don't. My brain can't get there. Where's your Lambo, Luke? Maybe one day. Honestly, that's another one. Cars, like fancy cars. It's not my thing. I just don't get it. If like I could go out and buy a stupid expensive car for it to lose half its value the moment I drive it off the lot, like I just don't care that much. And living in Colorado, it's also like our roads are not built for sports cars. One time, I've told you guys this story before. We were in Old Town Fort Collins, and there was a guy that was driving like a brand new Bugatti. I actually know where he lives. He's like a land developer. He owns like a house building company that built a ton of houses to the east side of I-25. So he's very, very well off. Literally lives in like a castle he built on a massive compound. He has a moat around his house. I'm not kidding. You can look it up through Google Street View. But he was driving his Bugatti around. I saw him, and he's coming out of a gas station, and like it comes down, the curb dips. And because the car's so low to the ground, he had to do like a 15-point turn to try and angle the wheel such that it didn't scrape the bottom of the fender or car against the curb. And even then it did scrape. I was like, dude, you spent $250,000 on a car that you can barely drive because of like how the streets are here. I just don't get it. Like a G-Wagon, if you want to spend stupid money on a car, at least you can drive that pretty much wherever you want. Like that's a tank of a car. That'll be okay. But like the crazy sports cars outside of very particular areas of the country or world where you can drive them, I just don't get it. Also, like, are you gonna, it's over 2 million, shows what I know. See, that makes it even more insane. Thank you. I just remember seeing the Bugatti logo on the back. It was neon green. It was vivid. Yeah. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, I know some wealthy people. Okay. I told you guys back in the day when I was working in real estate, I worked with like literally a few billionaires throughout my time in varying degrees, and none of them drove like the fancy sports cars. It's very interesting how you can go from like, they'll go from maybe worth $1 million to 50 or $1 million to 100 million. And they love all the sports cars, all the flashy stuff. But once you pass like 100 million, the odds of them being interested in that plummet. Like, it's very interesting because I know some people that are in that like $200 million range, like real estate investors and moguls, and they drive big ass Chevy SUVs that they can get the tax credit on. They drive them into the ground, the big raised ones with all the blackout windows. But like they're not doing the supercar thing. Like they just don't get it. Yeah, new money versus old money. Yeah, I think so. I told you guys the story of my old boss. His house literally, I am not kidding, had 2 elevators. His house had elevators. very well off, very well off. But one time I heard a story of somebody that brought him a like bottle of wine, and it was something they got at like a supermarket. Like it was not a crazy fancy bottle. I think it was like $30, $35 or something, like a good bottle of wine, but not like $1,000 bottle or anything. And so it's like a $30 bottle of wine. He brings it to dinner at this guy's house, and he tastes it. He's like, this is delicious. This is wonderful. What is it called? And he sees the label and he looks it up on his phone, and he got actually mad that this guy spent $30 on wine to bring it to his house. He's like, now I know now I like this, and I'm going to have to spend $30 on this bottle of wine. It's like, dude, you could piss away $30 and not even realize. Like, that is a rounding error of a rounding error for you with how much money that, like, to put it in perspective, this guy's making hundreds of thousands every month. Okay. Like, he's okay. He can afford a $30 bottle of wine, but that was why he was stupidly wealthy, is because he had that mindset. But it's also kind of a prison, because it made it so once he had a shit ton of money, he couldn't actually enjoy it, you know, because he could never let go. He could never let go, you know. Except for the elevators. I guess he had the elevators. The founder of IKEA drove an old shabby Volvo. Well, famously, there's the old video of and I promise we will get to gaming. Let's see. I think he drove a Honda. Yeah, this is a video of Jeff Bezos when he was already a billionaire.
Times this morning, New York Times?
Yeah, I saw the Times this morning.
At one point on Friday, Amazon.com's total stock market value surged past $30 billion, making it worth more than a major industrial company like Texaco. That didn't blow your mind when you read it?
Well, I think if you're asking for sort of an emotional response, I think it's very humbling, and it creates a sense of responsibility.
According to my
$20 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Being a watch dork myself, Russell Crowe has a TikTok channel,
Yes.
IGP if you search, where he reviews his watches and talks about his band. It's lovely lol.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in watches, look up that Russell Brand TikTok page, because he's like literally in his office. Behind him is the Academy Award for Gladiator, just sitting on a shelf collecting dust, which is crazy. And he's just talking about this watch, and he's like, yeah, and then this is made with gecko skin from the Crown Prince's private gecko collection. Like, it's all sorts of insanely niche, like literally priceless watches. It's really, really cool. It's really cool. You should watch it. But listen to this. Listen to this.
Calculations, you yourself are worth somewhere in the vicinity of $9 or $10 billion today. I only say that because I've got a follow-up question.
Okay.
What's with the Honda?
This is a perfectly good car.
But that mindset is what like helped him grow to the point where he could buy a $500 million super yacht. Once he retired, he spent like crazy. Jeff figured it out. You know, he went and started guzzling gorilla blood and moose jizz or whatever to bulk him up so that now he walks around like a bodybuilder. And you know, he got the $500 million super yacht. He learned how to loosen up, to put it very, very lightly. But back in the day, like notably, he would drive like a cheap Honda, even though at this point, the guy right there is worth $10 billion. And that's in like late 90s, early 2000s money. So like 15, 20 billion by today. Not that it matters. It's still billions. You know, but this is the mindset. He also famously used a door as his desk for years, which is funny. Like, they moved into an office. I don't think they'll show it. Yeah, this is the house where he founded Amazon. This is one of the early warehouses. But famously, like, they moved into a new office, and he wanted to signal a policy that everybody was free to talk to him whenever they wanted. So he literally took the door off of his office, took the door off, and set it down on top of cabinets, and that became his desk, because he was like, literally, it's an open door policy. And so that was his desk, which is kind of fun. And I use a kitchen island. You're damn right. Yeah, straight up, guys, unrelated to anything we just talked about. If you want a good desk, Just go on IKEA's website, order a literal kitchen island. That's what this is. You put it on a couple of their cabinet things with the drawers. You'll spend half of what you would for a desk of the similar size. It's bigger and tougher than anything you could get there because it's made to have like knives chopping on it and stuff. It's great. It's great. Highly, highly recommend it. Works fantastically well. Yeah. What if I wanted privacy while I talk to my boss? Too bad. When you get fired, everyone's going to know. No, you go to a conference room, silly. You go to a conference room. Let's see. Oh, did I say Russell Brand instead of Russell Crowe? Dude, that's funny. Can you imagine if Russell Brand was in Gladiator? That would be a very different movie. I will acknowledge that. That would be a very different movie. Probably not in a good way. That's crazy. Did I actually say that? That's freaking funny, dude. I didn't even realize that. That's funny. Oh my God. Okay, let me see. Nintendo is suing the US government. Yeah, they're upset over the tariffs. And I mean, I'm sure they're trying to sort that out before they raise prices, because raising prices would be bad. So they're trying to sort that out. Let's see. Beerus, thank you for the 5. Hi, Luke. All the preview footage and commentary I've seen was done with controller. Do you have any insight on mouse and keyboard gameplay? I'm assuming for Crimson Desert, you mean? I did try it with mouse and keyboard. Honestly, I think for a lot of people, it'll be the preferred way to play. They said it's been optimized and mainly built for controller, at least the UI. But honestly, using a mouse and keyboard was really nice because you can quickly sift through the menus. And you can, personally, I don't like using an analog stick for the cursor, like to move around a mini map and select objectives. So I'm one of those guys when I play a game on PC, like I'll have the controller, and then if it gets to like a really big menu, I'll set it down and use mouse and keyboard to sort that, and then I go back to controller. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know if that's normal, but yeah, when I tried it, I liked the mouse and keyboard controls, frankly. But have I tried Saros? Just asking. I have not tried Saros yet. No, I haven't tried it. It's very interesting to me. Very interesting. We shall see. Anything? I haven't seen anything on performance for consoles yet. A Korean YouTuber talked about it and did get to see it. The translations are vague and hard to sift through, frankly. So it's kind of hard to figure out what they were talking about. Jor pointed out that like you can either listen to this and hear it as like it's running on performance. It's running at 1080p 60 at full HD 60 on performance mode, which is better than 99% of games nowadays. Or you can read it as that's what they expect, but they did say they saw it running on quality mode, and by their eye, it was running at approximately 40 to 45 FPS on quality mode. But
I saw wasn't the latest build and maybe refined with a daily patch before release. Arus. While I didn't provide frame rates, I did see some differences, but it felt like 40 frames, 4K. As you know, the latest triple play games on the PS5 typically run at 30 frames per second at 4K in resolution priority mode, desaggy mode. And in frame priority mode, full HD 60 frames is the default, but even in 4K it felt smoother than 30 frames, and I played a short 10 segment where you attack a camp occupied by humanoid to mid-game, and it...
So he says that he played a 10-minute sequence on quality mode and it felt smoother than 30. So by his eye, it was 40 to 45 FPS on quality mode. And considering the industry standard is to target 60 on performance mode, that's what he's expecting based on what he saw. But we have not seen that. My understanding is that we will see and know all of that before launch. So, you know, don't freak out just yet. If we get the day before launch and there's no news about console performance, yeah, at that point it's like, but I fully expect that there's going to be info dropped. So yeah. Weird accent. It's YouTube's new AI thing where they basically, so the video is in Korean, but YouTube has a new tool you can opt in for where it scans your voice, the creator's voice, creates an AI version of the creator's voice, and then uses that AI trained voice to read off the Google translation of the captions So it's the creator's voice, but in a different language, which is weird. Like that's why it sounds weirdly paced and it's just like kind of strange. That's why. They sent me an email asking me if I wanted to opt in for it, but you have to sign like a lot of scary paperwork to opt in for it. Like it's actually kind of scary, and I'm sure it's because they're using it to train a bunch of other stuff. So I've not opted in for it, but yeah. I can't wait to hear Luke speak Chinese. Allegedly, that's what it allows to happen. Like you could have it, and that's why they're pushing it, because they're like, yeah, if you do it, if you opt in, we can then promote your channel in China or in India or in Brazil or wherever. Language no longer matters. I think the AI voice is not good enough for that because it sounds like that, but I'm sure one day it'll get even better and you probably won't be able to tell too much, but yeah, that's why it sounds weird. That's why it sounds weird. Just to be clear. Okay. My guess is that they're prepping the Steam Machine release. We're going to talk about the Steam Machine and the new Xbox hardware because there's a whole lot of stuff going on. And I think that there's some big moves actually coming. I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what they're doing. And it's both better than I expected and exactly what I expected at the same time. So yeah, we'll get about it. What am I drinking? I got a nitro cold brew. It was supposed to be sweet cream, but it tastes like nothing. So the top foam is just like foam. It's kind of weird, but it's fine. It's fine. Don't tell my wife. It's a great way to start any segment or discussion, right? Don't tell my wife. But she wanted to go to Starbucks this morning because we had to run some errands. Mr. Romeo had to get a blood draw because he has to get taken, his downstairs business taken care of, so he doesn't hump lady dogs at the dog park. So he had to get blood work done. So I took him to do that. But we were running a bunch of errands and we were like, oh, let's swing by, get Nikki a coffee. Problem is, if she gets a coffee and I don't, she gets like actually upset. She's like, so we just came here for me? It's like, yeah, but you can't say that. You can't say that. Your missus does not want to be the only reason, like the only one getting something. So we went through the drive-thru and I was like, okay, I guess I'll get something. And so I ordered this, even though I didn't really want it. And now I'm like, I'm in too deep. Yeah, you're clipping Romeo. Yeah, don't tell him. He's not going to be happy about it. He's not going to be happy about it. But we waited the full year. The vet, when we first got him, was like, he's a big breed. We just weighed him. He's 77 pounds as of this morning. So he's a big boy. At a year old, he's 77 pounds. And they were like, give him the full year because the full year will allow him to get all the hormones he needs to grow, build the musculature, skeletal muscle, all of that stuff. So we waited the full year. We're here now. And they're like, it's time, because if you don't get him fixed now, he's going to start trying to make love to everything. And so is he Juliet now? No, more like a Jules. No, his operation is next week, like a week and a half away. They have to do a blood test on him, which is what he got a blood draw for this morning, to make sure that he doesn't have any like heart conditions, make sure he can go under anesthesia and all of that stuff. So we had to do a preemptive blood test, and then he'll go under next week for it. But I asked them, I was like, what should we do to keep him from licking himself? And they're like, oh, check these out. And they showed me a picture of it. They have dog surgery onesies that they recommend, where literally it's like a full-on onesie for your dog that just shrink wraps them so they can't lick anything. And the nice thing is they don't have to then wear the cone or like the blow up balloon thing donut around their neck. And it's really cute. It's really cute. It's pretty cute. Yeah. So we'll see if we actually do that. It's pretty adorable. Okay. I will actually catch up on this, and then I want to talk about the Xbox Project Helix stuff that just dropped. I'll blast through this quick. I'll try not to get sidetracked. Okay. Yamen Dooney, thank you for the membership. I'm sorry for mispronouncing that because I'm sure I did. Limits Breaker, thank you for the 12 months, full year. Ooh, baby. Shout out to Luke and the fam in the chat. Here's to an awesome Friday. Thanks for banging, not for banging the content. Thanks for
At
the banging
King Cole
content. Keep us rolling.
1999
Much
donated
love.
$20
Much
for
love.
super chat. On the topic of Bungie, they delayed a DLC for Destiny so Marathon can release. Sony wants them to run 2 live service games. It reminds me of that episode of South Park, but instead it put a battle pass
And put a battle pass in it and make it lame. Yeah, literally. And I think it's bizarre that Naughty Dog told everybody we can only do 1 live service game at a time, and they concluded that after talking with Bungie.
Donated
But Bungie will do it
through
somehow.
Super Chat.
It's crazy.
R.I.P. in peace, Romeo's balls.
Yes, moment of silence for Romeo's balls, everybody. And another moment of silence for the other one. Okay, let's continue. Thank you for the very generous 20. Appreciate you, my friend. And yeah, I think it's what I've been saying is I think that there will be a solid audience for Marathon. And we're seeing that now on the Steam numbers. There's a solid audience for it. I just don't think that number is big enough. Like, it's not a Destiny 2 level number. Destiny 2 used to be like, I mean, I'm sure across all platforms, they had hundreds of thousands of players at any given moment. And that's why Sony bought them for close to $4 billion. And I just don't see a universe in which Marathon gets anywhere close to that. Even eventually with tons of updates and improvements and stuff, I just think that extraction shooters, unless you're really, really lucky, they're just more niche than that, like they're just more niche. So I don't know, man. I don't know. They've already, people saying that they're going to downsize Bungie. They already did. That's the thing. They apparently, when they bought Bungie, it had 1,800 employees, I think, or something. And as of middle of last year, they were down to 800-ish. So they decimated it. And part of that was studio spinoff, the Gummy Bear game. They spun off somewhere else. So it's not like everybody was fired, but the studio is not the same as it was back when they bought it. And so maybe it's okay to have 20,000 players or 30,000 players on Steam. Maybe that's doable. I don't know. They're behind closed doors numbers, but it's unless you're really lucky, with Arc Raiders, I think extraction shooters are just they're getting very saturated. We're at the life cycle stage where battle royales were circa 2021, 2022, where just every new live service game was a battle royale. And now everything is an extraction shooter. And I'm sure in another 3 to 4 years, it's going to be something else. Will be the new meta. We'll just have to see. I'm loving Marathon. I'm glad to hear it. My brother has been playing it a lot and absolutely eating it up. And, so I'm glad you're liking it. As we predicted here on stream, 3, 4, 5 months ago, it's not going to be a Concord or High Guard or anything level flop or anything. It's going to do well. The question has always been, is it going to do well enough to justify Sony's purchase of Bungie? Is it going to be enough for Sony?
At Letchit M with J donated
That I don't know.
$19.99 through Super
Thank
Chat.
you, very generous.
Good morning, Luke.
Good morning.
Mergenix has me in a chokehold. Xbox has me optimistic only if they bring back some form of exclusivity and subsidized to under $1,000.
Yeah, it cut off. Let's see. I think they could be very competitive, but they need exclusives. So, and yeah, we're going to get to all of this because I do think that there's a lot of signaling in some of these talks about what they are planning on doing that I do think is very, very interesting. Because I think that there is a strategy shift going on, pretty clearly. There's a strategy shift going on. I do not think they're going to be doing things the same way that they've always done it. I think it's all going to be very, very different. And so we'll touch on it because I think again it's going to be very different structure than we're used to. Okay, let me do this so we can actually read the article. Okay, real quick, blasting through these. Please hold. Please hold. Okay, that one. Nintendo suing. I read that one. RPG Veteran, thank you for the 5. I love exclusivity is back now. We don't want games pirated the next day they drop, like RE9. Imagine that happening to all PlayStation exclusives. We do know that especially Japanese companies tend to be very, very sensitive towards infringement of their copyrights, whether it be something like piracy or something like a PAL World, which is like a spiritual successor / clone. They don't tend to be that forgiving. Notably, Nintendo is the worst offender of like takedowns for YouTuber content, streams and stuff. I don't think it works this way anymore, but for a solid decade, you had to be part of Nintendo's partnership program to put up videos on their games. So like if I wanted to do a Breath of the Wild Let's Play or something, I had to be a part of their program to avoid having their copyright strikes come in and hit me. And that was something where they would take like a massive chunk of ad revenue for doing literally nothing. Like it was just, they've always been crazy about it. They've always been weird about it. And I've been told it's like a cultural difference. I don't know, but yeah, it's just insane. Yeah. Most were told no anyway. Yeah, literally. People were always like, why don't you cover Nintendo stuff more? I'm like, because they're insane. Like now they're way better, but back in the day, man, it was like, guys, people want to talk about your game. Like, let them talk about your game. It's free promotion. We're saying Breath of the Wild's a generational masterpiece. Let us say that. But it's like, no, strike. It's like, why? Why are we doing this way? You're like, you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's crazy. So enemies can attack you while you try and heal. I mean, you pop a healing item. It's like taking a potion in The Witcher 3. So technically, yeah, they can attack you. It's not like the world stands still in Crimson Desert when you're healing. Thank you, Gib, for that. Ryan, thank you for the new membership as well. Okay, I read that one. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about exclusivity. Tony, hey, Luke, just want you to know that you make my workday a little less lonely. Hey, Luke, I just want you to know that you make my workday a little less lonely. 2x, that means it means twice as much. Thank you, my friend. Much love. Thank you for the 5. And I'm glad I can make your day a little bit better. Obi-Wan, thank you for the membership at the no one should choose this tier. Obi-Wan. Didn't you read what it said? No one should choose this. That's incredibly generous, my friend. Shout out Obi-Wan. Everyone say Obi-Wan. Thank you. He was our only hope, and now he's done it. Shout out Obi-Wan. Thank you, my friend. That's incredibly generous. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. Chad Williams, thank you for the 10. Are you going to try the AC Unity 60 FPS update? I am going to download it. I have not yet, but I do plan on downloading it because it is a vibe. Bass player, thank you for the 5. Most don't drive supercars because maintenance is a nightmare, and new money versus old money as well. Yeah. Maintenance is crazy. Insurance is crazy.
Alexander Smith 7433
You're more likely to get
donated
tickets, speeding tickets and stuff.
$19.99 through Super Chat.
Yeah.
Seems like Crimson Desert has a survival game vibe with complex combat. Need it so bad to pull me off of Arc Raiders.
I need something else. It's like a nicotine patch. You're trying to quit smoking. You're like, I just need a little something extra, something different, just to shake it up. I feel that. Yeah, I can't wait to talk more about Crimson Desert. Tell you what, review drops on the 18th. We've got plenty of time, but yeah, can't wait to talk about it more. Appreciate you for the 20. That's super generous. Thank you. Okay, I read that one. Hey, what's the story behind the he took my thing at the end of your videos? I don't actually remember, Ollie. Jacob might know because Jacob cut that highlight thing together. So if Jacob's in chat, he might be able to say, I honestly don't know. Like, I don't remember what that's from, but Jacob might. Thank you, Spec Ops, again for the Russell Crowe, not Russell Brand, Russell Crowe TikTok channel shout out. Let's see. RPG Veteran, sorry for taking a minute to get to your previous super chat. We did get to it. GPF, thank you for that. 5. I want to get Crimson Desert, but the size is daunting. I won't finish in time. Other games come out. Could I jump between games, or would I be wasting money? you can always jump between. With Crimson Desert looking as massive as it is, I would imagine most people are going to take a long time to get through it. They've already said openly that like completionist runs are going to be hundreds of hours long. Like it's massive. It's huge. So I think the best way to play it is to take your time. And if that means that you play it for a few weeks and then you take a week off and then you come back to it, so be it. If that's what it takes. Like, I still go back to Red Dead 2 and find new stuff. Like, it's just such a massive game. And so I'm hoping it's a similar thing to that. Sam Cohen, thank you for the 15 months. Love the content. Just wanted to let you know that the new AC Unity update actually is really nice, and it does play at 60 FPS with what seems to be native 4K res. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I want to check it out, and I want to get my friends together and do 4-player co-op. Because, dude, back in the day when I would do we did 2-player co-op with the black box missions, it was a vibe, dude. Like, anybody who's like, AC multiplayer automatically sucks. I'm like, no, dude. When done right, it's badass to like collaborate and be able to like, okay, you distract him, I'm gonna pivot around this way and do that. It's actually really, really fun. If you've never tried co-op in AC Unity with the update now, you should try it. It's a vibe. It really is a vibe. Let's see. Guts of Rivia, thank you for that. Did you feel like the alternate weapons had a fleshed out moveset compared to characters' main weapons, like Cliff's sword and shield versus his long sword or spear? Yeah, they're all unique. And when we tried the endgame save file, one of the enemies was like, there was a sort of a halberd that we were using, kind of like long axe, that was very, very good against them. But then against one of the other bosses we tried, the short sword was way better, and the moveset was just, it worked better. So I think it's going to be one of those games where you might get an arsenal of like 2 to 3 weapons that you're like really familiar with, and those become your main ones, and you might even be rotating between them within a boss fight, depending on what phase they're in and stuff like that. So yeah, they're all very unique, and it's not like they all play the same. Was it AC Valhalla where like you could have an axe or a sword and the animations were the same? Like he was stabbing with the like cap of the spear or of the axe. It was really weird. This is not like that. It's not like that. Did you see the questionnaire that Ubisoft put out on the AC subreddit? It had some questions with very honest answer possibilities. Yes, Musiques, I did see that. It does honestly seem like they are trying to collect feedback early and often. And that's what we've been saying. Like, they could have avoided so many of the recent headaches and disastrous PR mistakes if they just opened up the channels for communication and listened. And that seems to be what they're doing. So I hope that they keep doing it and that they actually do something with it. But as we've said, what like Jor and I said on the podcast on Wednesday, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, and Ubisoft's done a lot of talking for years and years and years. If they're actually changing it up, they need to demonstrate it with actions, and that's what is going to come, you know? It's like the ball is in their court at this point. Yeah, did you see the new AC survey about the future? Yes. Thank you, Codex. Yeah, I'm optimistic about it. I'm hoping they don't screw it up again, but been burned many times. Thank you for 15 months, Degrees Below. The trick to marriage and eating out is to tell the missus that you want to go eat at all of their favorite places. That way they can eat there guilt-free. I will say there's a steakhouse that Nikki loves, and no matter what, yeah, if I ever throw out, you want to go there? Like, she'll go. Yeah, it's the cheat code. You just have to find that one spot that they really like. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, King Cole, again for the very generous 20. Appreciate you. Also, Caleb for the very generous 20 about Romeo's balls. Appreciate you. Tall Guy, thank you for the 5. Relative to other games, I would say Marathon is doing well, but I want to hear your opinion considering the pressure Bungie is under. Is it enough? I honestly, just frankly, I don't know. Because I don't know what PlayStation's expectations are. Considering I think they would have launched and it would have been like a high guard flop if it launched in September, I think this is a W. Is it a big enough W for Sony to be happy? I honestly don't know. So they've made a ton of progress. I think it's a W in terms of where they started versus where they are today. But does that satisfy Hiroki Totoki and their CFO and all those guys? I honestly don't know. I would still expect, I think they're going to wind Destiny down. It's already kind of doing that. They're delaying DLC. They're doing it like, I think they're pretty clearly signaling that Destiny 2 is closing out. And I think they're going to become the Marathon studio. and they're probably going to get downsized even more. I do think there'll be some layoffs, but they're going to spin it as, no, nobody on Marathon is being laid off. We're just restructuring or something. But I think they're basically going to become the Marathon studio, and that's going to be that. So I think if they're at like 700 to 800 employees now, they probably drop down to 400 to 500 within a couple of years. That's my expectation. Because it's pretty clear they're not putting more chips on Destiny 2. You know, they're removing chips from it. So with that, like, what other pots on the stove do they have? It's all on Marathon. And Marathon is entering a phase of its life where it's not going to be about having 1,000 people working on it. It's about maintaining and upkeeping new content drops, new skins and stuff. So I think it's just, that's probably where it ends up. Yeah. Cody, thank you for the 24 months. My goodness, 24 months, 2 years. Ooh, baby. Hope your day is going splendid, Skullface. I hope yours is going splendid as well, Skullface. Appreciate you. Much love. It is going well. It is going well. Let's chat with, oh my God, I scrolled too far. Let's chat M with J. Thank you for the very generous 20 again, about Mugenics having you in a chokehold. Yeah. And bringing back the exclusivity subsidized under $1,000. Yeah, we'll talk about it in just a second. Gib, thank you for the 20 or for the 10. So just to confirm, in Crimson Desert, enemies can attack me while I attempt to heal, can recover. I can't just stop the game to heal, correct? So to be clear, in Crimson Desert, you're fighting. You want to heal because your health's low. Right on the D-pad. It heals while you're still fighting. It doesn't pause the game. It doesn't pull up a menu or whatever. If you want to pull up a menu to select a different healing item, you can do that. You hold down right on the D-pad. It pulls up a radial wheel thing. You can go just like literally the same UI as Red Dead 2. You swap to a different healing item in the bottom slot, and then you let go to like eat it and consume it. But it consumes it while the game is unpaused. So it's not like Breath of the Wild where you pause, go through the menu, heal up fully, unpause. It's not like that. Hopefully that answers the question. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hopefully that's clear. Why is this important? It's apparently a big deal. But if hopefully that's as clear as I can make it. It works like Red Dead 2, not like Breath of the Wild. Wait, so will the game pause? Oh my God. Jesus. The Pepper, thank you for that. Thank you for the 2. Could the same be said about Souls-like games? I'm not sure what this was in response to. I am so sorry. If you could clarify, Peppers, I can talk to that. But by this point, it took me so long to get here because you guys are stupid generous. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Olive, thank you for that one. Let's see with a 5. Other streamer said PS exclusives more for having people buy non-exclusive on PSN in general. Oh, do you mean PlayStation's, that like a majority of PlayStation's money, most of it comes from taking a 30% cut of everything on the store. So if that's what you mean, that the exclusives get you in the ecosystem on the platform and then they make their money on the platform, yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. Yes. Have you received a review copy of Crimson Desert? Yes, I am actively playing it right now, actually. Under the desk. Yeah. But yes, I do have a review code. As a... Admiral, thank you for the membership. Appreciate you. Salty Fate, thank you for the 5. As a casual gamer with weird taste, I'm not into this whole numbers game, but Slay the Spire 2 numbers, holy shiz. I'm very happy for the devs. Yeah, dude, I mean, Slay the Spire goes hard. It goes real hard. If you've never played it, talk about a massive game. Okay, thank you again, Alexander, for that one. We're almost there, guys. Appreciate your patience. Skirban, thank you for the 5. I think I'd be willing to try more live service games if it was something besides a shooter. That's the meta for sure. MRH, thank you for that. Will you watch when they talk about the Xbox console next week? Yes, if I can. But yes, the plan is we'll do reactions and stuff to it. Yeah, we're going to cover it. Joker, thank you for the 10. With Starfield coming to PS5 soon, do you think it'll have 32 times the detail? No, I think it's very interesting that when Todd went on Greg Miller's show on Kind of Funny, he actively like downplayed it, which is not something Todd tends to do. He was like, this is not Starfield 2.0, which he didn't have to say that. But the fact that he's stepping in and being like, if you really like Starfield, it's more Starfield. It's better Starfield, which is my suspicion. After I spoke to people that went to the event and were familiar with what happened at the event, because they helped put it on, it was clear that it was something that it's going to be more better Starfield, but it's still Starfield. So if you hate Starfield, it's not going to magically change your mind. And that's basically exactly what Todd ended up saying, which I'm glad he's being transparent about it. But yeah, I do think we will hear about Starfield within the next like 2 weeks is my guess. They might even hold off and then shadow drop it in April, do like a reveal in early April with a drop of it like on the 7th. I could see that. But I expect they're going to be doing another event of some sort in the next few weeks. To be clear, I'm not going to it. But my expectation is that they're doing another event. Yeah. Do I think RE9 will get a DLC? Probably something. It did. I mean, it's done fantastically well, so probably something. Hypernaut IQ, thank you for that membership. Walter King, thank you for that membership. Appreciate you. From what you've seen, do you think Crimson Desert will be a success? Also, love you, Luke. Yes, I do think it's going to do very, very well. I think it's going to do very well. The level of hype is like actually insane. So yeah, I think so. We'll see how reviews are, but I think at this point, even if it reviews at like a B or a B plus or a B minus, I still think a lot of people go, okay, good enough for me, and they're gonna get in. So yeah, I expect it's gonna do really well. Okay, with that one, the Peppers. Do you think the Helix announcement was rushed out by Asha Sharma to get players excited about Xbox again? Do you think Phil would have sat on it? No, I've gotten the feeling that how do I put it? I think that she got in position and evaluated everything going on. And if she wanted to like nix this whole thing and go, never mind, we're not doing that, she could have and pulled an immediate 180 last minute and not revealed this. The fact that she just took over and is now going to be pushing this forward, I think shows that this does fit with her vision of where things are going. So yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, I don't think that she rushed it out. I think this has been the plan for a while. And it's like what was suggested by them, publicly at least, was that she was working with Phil Spencer for months before she took over. So she was like late last year starting to do early preparation work. She was shadowing them. Like she was aware that all of this was happening. So yeah, I think that this is, it was planned for a while, I think. Let's see. Flip, thank you for the 5. Do you think Marathon can succeed and find a spot in the extraction shooter space? I hate to see games flop or fail. It's been happening too much. Yeah, I think it does. Like I said, I think it probably sits at like 20,000, 30,000 players for a long time. But my point has always just been that Sony spent $4 billion on them. 20 to 30,000 concurrent players on Steam is not a $4 billion result. Like that's not what you want. You want Arc Raiders numbers, and they just aren't there. So they've obviously done a lot of restructuring of Bungie. They've laid people off. They've restructured. They've moved people around. So they've made moves and changed stuff. Certainly, I don't know what Sony's thinking, but yeah, Sony has their own metrics and what they were expecting. We just don't know what those metrics are, but we're gonna find out soon enough. Let's see. Hype, not IQ. Thank you for the 5. Did you see all the burger mogging going on? The meme with like the McDonald's CEO? Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty stupid. Meta, thank you for the 5. Almost there, guys. Where's all the marathon launch reviews? It's been a little quiet. And it's kind of weird to review an extraction shooter. Like you can't really review it before launch because you have to see how other players are. It's just live service games. They don't review the same way. Like I've seen outlets put up their review after 25 hours and stuff like that, but like who really cares at the end of the day? You know, it doesn't work the same with live service stuff. Bender, thank you for the 10. Can't wait to cosplay as a WWE superstar in Crimson Desert. You're damn right. And then Weep, I think, thank you for that. What happened to Wolf Among Us 2? Have not heard anything for a while. It's apparently still chugging along. We'll find out. We'll find out. But yeah, it's apparently still happening. It's not like they canceled it. We shall see. Okay, I'm gonna heart that so I have a bookmark to where we are. Thank you for being ridiculously generous, guys. You guys are ridiculous, and I appreciate you greatly. You get 3 booms. Boom, boom. Reverse it. Boom. Just for you. There you go. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. New segment. It's time. Helix Project Asha. Here we go. Here we go. Asha is taking her first step as CEO of Xbox, revealing Project Helix, my friends. It's happening. It's happening. Now, obviously, it goes, or at least it should go without saying, this was in the works well before she took over, okay? So it's not like this is her baby, okay? This has been rumored for like a year and a half that this is the direction they're going, but it is significant that this is being revealed right after she takes over and that she is being very visible in the presentation of it. She is putting her name on it, and I think it goes to show that this is part of her vision for the platform. What is this vision? Well, Asha said, great start to the morning with Team Xbox, where we talked about our commitment to the return of Xbox, including Project Helix, the code name for our next generation console. Project Helix will lead in performance and play your Xbox and PC games. Looking forward to chatting about this more with partners and studios at my first GDC next week. Now, I know people that are going to GDC. These meetings with like Xbox have been scheduled for months, okay? Like, so this has been in the works since well before she took over, okay? Just to be clear. But there's a couple of key phrases. We're about to get into some of the actual discussions of what Project Helix is going to be, but you can see that number one, it's the commitment to the return of Xbox. This, to me, saying the return of Xbox is tied to our next generation console. That, to me, again, signals we're not doing the like everything is an Xbox thing. The departure of Sarah Bond, who very visibly and publicly attached her name to that, I think is part of the reason that she's not there anymore. I think it's pretty clear they're pivoting away from that approach. It just wasn't working. Like, even if you can see the vision and even if you can agree with the idea that, yeah, you should be able to play Xbox games on the cloud and on your phone and on the console and on PC, which is all great. The messaging was bad. It just devalued what it is. It's like the McDonald's CEO calling a burger a product. Is it technically accurate? Yeah, but you shouldn't be surprised when people hear that and go, ew. Yeah, and that's what happened with Xbox, is that they framed it as everything's an Xbox, which kind of turns it into nothing being an Xbox. There's no point to own a console. There's no point in attaching to the brand, because if everything is the brand, nothing is. You know, it devalues it. So she's attaching herself very publicly to this, and this is what they're calling it, Project Helix. Now, also at the same time, she's appearing at internal Xbox town hall meetings with the CEO Satya Nadella, wearing, you know, a big Xbox hoodie, signaling that he is very much on board with Asha as the CEO and with her vision and the direction they are taking it. Now, we're going to get into specifics in just a second with the Verge article on this, but once again, let's remove what we want to be true with what is factually true. Remove the speculation. We know Satya's all AI all the time. He really wants people to stop calling it AI slop. Really doesn't like micro slop. Really doesn't like that term, which is why it's so funny that people started flooding his social media with it after he said people need to stop calling it micro slop. It's really offensive. It's everybody, micro slop everywhere. But he is all AI all the time. It is literally the foundation of their multi-trillion-dollar business at this point. He put in charge of Xbox Asha Sharma, who was just a few weeks ago the head of Core AI. Core AI within Microsoft was a team of a few hundred people, and their job was to create AI tools and AI agents which are able to do the jobs of people effectively replacing them. So you can create agents that are powered by Microsoft AI tools to complete various tasks and jobs. So you can have AI agents for customer service, AI agents for QA, where they can like take control of a controller and test games. So you don't need a QA department. The robots will do it instead. Like that was her basis, was creating AI tool sets like that. Okay. These are facts. Now, do I think she's coming in and, she's also said that she wants to go back to the essentials of Xbox. She wants to find the, what did she call it? She called it like the something spirit, the rebellious spirit or something like that. It's all talk. It's all talk. Okay. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think they will return to focusing on like the Xbox console, Xbox as a platform. Instead of everything's an Xbox, it's this amorphous thing. They're going to try to make it an actual brand instead of just being everything. So I think they will do significant rebranding around Xbox. Does that mean that they're going to back off of like cross-platform stuff, back off bringing stuff to PlayStation? That one, I think it's likely that most of the stuff in the next couple of years has already been set in stone. But I think next generation, all bets are off. Next generation, they could go and be like, nope, we're going to have exclusives on Xbox and PC. And they're going to try to win back market share. It's just been clear, not having console exclusives at all means very few people find it justified to buy your console. Like that, you don't have to like exclusives yourself. The data shows the more Microsoft has backed away from exclusives and has gone open platform, the less consoles they sell. Because what does everybody say? Well, if there's no reason to get an Xbox, then I'll just get a PC, or I'll get a PlayStation because everything on Xbox will end up going there. And PlayStation has exclusives, at least, timed exclusives. So I'm better off there. And so there's no reason to be in their ecosystem. There's no reason to be on their platform. And I think Satya's realized this, and they're going to pivot. So I think that they're going to do some stuff like that. They're going to do fan servicey stuff, but don't get it twisted. She is still an AI shark. He's still an AI shark. They're still going to be putting AI in everything, the whole workflow. Every studio is going to need to be using Copilot. Every studio is going to need to be able to justify to their managers at Microsoft how AI is improving their workflow and increasing productivity and stuff. They're going to do both. Okay. Don't think that like magically she's going to step in and be like, let's go back to 2006. There's a reason she was put in position and not somebody within Xbox. Okay. There's a reason. There's a reason the AI executive was given that role. Now, what is specifically going on? Let's see. So they teased this next generation Xbox in this way. And as you can see, this is from The Verge. Microsoft has already indicated that the next Xbox will be some kind of hybrid console, with a hybrid between console and PC, with former Xbox president Sarah Bond also saying that the next gen console is going to be very premium, very high-end, curated experience. This is also a translation, so translation from corpo speak. Expensive. And also super expensive. That's what I read it as. The expectation, like from insiders, is that this is well over $1,000. This is probably like a $1,200 machine. And it will be a hybrid PC console device. Now, I'm going to be real about this. I'm going to get truthful with you. Listen now. Can you tell I've been watching Righteous Gemstones? Uncle Baby Billy. Listen now. Okay. I think this sounds cool. Honestly, if I have a console that is powerful enough to run my Steam games and I can hook it up to my TV without having to make a separate gaming PC just for playing Steam games in front of the TV, that's cool. That's why I was also interested in the Steam machine, but frankly, I think the Steam machine is going to be too weak for what I would want to get out of it. So this, to me, honestly, sounds cool. This is the type of device that I would actually buy within the Xbox ecosystem. And what they're expected to do is to basically take all the extra crap within Windows 11 and strip that out so that you can see massive performance hikes, which is what we've already seen them experiment with on the ROG Xbox Ally X. They're great at naming. But that's their vision, is to basically strip out all these parts of Windows you don't use for gaming, Just leave it as a PC that's able to run things like Steam, Battle.net, Riot, whatever it is. They can run all those platforms and launchers, but it's also got like the big picture mode like Steam has, but for Xbox. So you'll be able to play anything on the Xbox store with Xbox Play Anywhere on that platform. But if you want to load into Steam, it's maybe hold down the home button, tab over to Windows mode, and then launch that and play your games that way. That sounds baller, okay? It depends on how powerful it is, but here is what makes this actually potentially compelling, okay? You ready? Listen now. With everything being stupid expensive, RAM, storage, anything NAND related, like anything, all silicon. The big players have an advantage over the little players. Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, AMD, they have massive advantages when going to TSMC and ordering hardware and chips and things, going to Samsung saying, hey, we need more storage. They have a lot of bargaining power because they can order in massive volume and bulk. And they can lean on that, lean into it to get better deals. And by going with massive scale, they can reduce the overall cost. So you very well could end up in a position where the Xbox Helix, whatever it ends up actually being called, is able to perform at a level of a PC that is like $500 more expensive, especially if things continue to be this pricey, because Xbox or Microsoft can order so many more to like level out the pricing. It still will be very expensive, but you could reasonably get to a point where it's like to do a PC would be like $1,700, $1,800 to perform at the same level, or you can buy the Microsoft Helix for $1,200 or $1,100 or $1,000 or whatever it is, to get the same experience all in this Xbox wrapper, clean and simple. That could give them a very serious competitive advantage over people buying and building their own PCs at home. Again, assuming market conditions stay relatively similar to how they are now. In her first memo after taking over as Microsoft's gaming boss, Sharma said that one of her big three commitments was the return of Xbox, saying that, quote, we will celebrate our roots with a renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with the console, which has shaped who we are. And this does seem to be part of the vision. Again, they're still going to be putting everything on cloud, like xCloud. They're not getting rid of xCloud. But I do think that they're going to stop talking about it like everything's an Xbox. Your refrigerator is not an Xbox. Your TV is not an Xbox. They're going to rebrand from that because it's pretty clear that branding turned into a joke. People mocked it openly. And like even now it's a joke of like, hold on, I have to grab my Xbox. Okay. Like it's like a running gag of how stupid that messaging was. It was just a bad idea. It didn't work. While she acknowledged in her memo that gaming now lives across devices, not within the limits of any single piece of hardware, seemingly a nod to Xbox's recent push beyond consoles and making its games available on competitors' platforms, she has indicated that she's open. It's a typo. She's indicated that she's open fans' complaints about the lack of Xbox exclusives. Open to fans' complaints. Sharma didn't share specific details about when Project Helix might launch. In early February, AMD hinted that it would be ready to support a launch in 2027, though it's unclear if that's when the console will actually be available. PlayStation is reportedly considering pushing back the debut of its next console to as late as 2029 due to the RAM crisis, which 2029 would surprise me. 2028, I've been guesstimating is what they're going to land on. But we'll see. But this has also been the speculation for a couple of years, is that Microsoft would have a hardware update before PlayStation does. What that does, I don't know, man. Like, honest question. I need everybody in chat to tell me. If for years, it's been like literally since the start of console gaming, it's been that all the big players update at about the same time so that you have a moment to pick a side, right? PS4 and Xbox One launch, same season. Same with the 360 PS3, same season. Direct responses to each other. This could be different. So if they were to launch the Project Helix in, let's say, late 2027, but the PlayStation 6 isn't coming out until 2028 in the fall, does that change a purchasing decision? Like, are you more likely to buy a 3 or an Xbox console if it comes before a PlayStation, or are you more likely to hold off to wait until like the PS6 launches? I'm not sure. Like, if it's framed as this is the next generation of gaming hardware and it's very open and it's very high performance, you know, I could see people with expendable income being interested in it, and showing up and buying it. But I'm not sure if that actually like moves the needle. No Xbox, just PC. Depends on when the GameCube comes out. Fair. Depends on the price. Not at all. I'm good with my PC. A lot of people have their PlayStation libraries. Well, that's a big thing that you probably can't move. But maybe that's part of the strategy is for Xbox. They're like, we're not going to take people away from PlayStation. But if we launch before, we're not replacing their PlayStation. We are now like trying to create the ultimate high fidelity option that's significantly better than like the PS5 Pro. Because here's the deal. I personally think that if they can launch and they have the definitive best platform to play games on console, if they have the best console performance by a good margin, which they could easily do with what they're talking about doing, especially if they're targeting like a $1,200 price point, they could very, very easily have it. So all of those game previews, all of the trailers and stuff, they'll be putting it on the new Xbox Helix because it's where their game is going to look the best. Just like if you remember way back in the day with the Xbox One X, that was the best console in terms of raw power. It was more powerful than the PS4 Pro. It was more powerful than anything else on the market. And so a lot of games started using that to demo and preview their games. Even though like it wasn't like the main console, that's what they were using to demonstrate how good their game looked. And so it could be a good thing in terms of branding if they were to launch earlier, have that be like the definitive console. I mean, and the other obvious piece of this is that it's not really like they're competing with PlayStation at the moment. You know, like, yes, if they wait to launch until right next to the PlayStation 6, yes, that does create this moment where people have to choose between the two. But do I think anybody really cares? Not really, frankly. At the GDC Festival of Gaming next week, Jason Ronald, Xbox's VP of Next Generation, who also reposted Sharma's tweet, is hosting a talk titled Building for the Future of Xbox, or with Xbox. Join us for a conversation about the visions shaping the future of Xbox and how we're building a more flexible, connected future for game creators and players everywhere, according to a description of the session. Hopefully we'll get more details about Helix there, which I think we will. They'll give us all of the info. I think it's going to be really fascinating to see how this breaks down. But like, I'm going to be honest, just looking at it from my personal perspective, the Steam machine is a solid little bugger, a solid little fella. But I don't think that's not going to be the thing you buy if you want to play AAA games at high fidelity on your massive TV. Like, it's just not. If you're looking for a premium experience, the only other option for you right now is to basically go and build a custom gaming PC that you set up next to your TV on your media center and play that way. That is doable, but even then you're running on Windows. It's like going to be kind of a hassle. It's far from ideal. The idea of this as a one-stop, open the box, plug it in, and it plays all of your Steam games and anything on Xbox. It can play anything on any other launcher. And it can do it in like pretty damn high fidelity. Not to mention there will probably be performance optimizations specifically for it as well, which is also a massive bonus. So that, to me, considering I would not have considered, if they were just going to do the Xbox Series Y and Series Z, I would not have been that interested in it at all. Because there's just, again, literally no reason to have it. But this is something I would actually consider buying if it ends up being powerful and giving me that couch experience, but with the power of a PC and the convenience and platforms of a PC. So that is very interesting. Yeah, but you're still gonna have to deal with Windows and all of its crappy updates. potentially, what they claim and what the rumors and speculation is that they will specifically be stripping out all of those typical Windows frustrations and the things that you don't need for gaming and leaving it just as the meat and potatoes of what you need to actually run the games on the platform. So in theory, it's the console experience, but it's technically under the hood running Windows, and you can launch everything else. But what they've said is that their engineers are working very, very hard to specifically make it so that you have a console-like experience, even if it's technically running Windows. That's the vision. That's the vision, at least. Let's chat M with Jay. Thank you for the 10. If they made Clockwork, ES6, and Blade exclusive to Xbox and PC, it would make a lot of people buy it. They don't have to make everything exclusive. That's the problem, though, is making some stuff exclusive and some stuff not. That mixed messaging doesn't help anything. Like we saw the whole start of this generation, nobody knew what the hell was going on, because I don't think they knew what the hell was going on. They're like, yeah, this might be exclusive, this might not, this might eventually come to PlayStation, it might never come, who knows. But I think they just got to be clear. That's one of my hopes with the new leadership, is that there's no more mixed messaging. They just set what the goal is, they stick to it the whole generation, and that's that. That's my hope. Bass player, thank you for the 5. You realize Steam Link is a thing. Yes, I have done Steam Link, but I think we can all acknowledge it's less than ideal. It's much better to have actual hardware hooked up to the TV. So you can remote into your desktop with all of its power while playing in another room. You can, but if you're in a freaking gigantic house like I have with like 13 bedrooms, you know, you have to use like a mesh router, and streaming from that through Steam Link doesn't work well on mesh routers. So I get it. You know, if you're not in a castle, it probably works well, but no, Steam Link is cool. It's far from ideal though, especially if you're sensitive to latency issues, which I don't know about you guys. I'm very sensitive to latency issues. It drives me up the wall, dude. It's bad. Like even sometimes playing games where like on a Switch where you disconnect the controllers, that little bit of latency bugs me. It's just, I'm very sensitive to it. So, you know, cloud streaming, even though it's technically within your own network, it's far from the ideal solution. Can I live in one of your 13 rooms? Call me. Luke, side question. If Hunter Gatherer fails financially, will we still get Horizon 3 from Guerrilla? I would think so, but like Jor put it, what Jor was like, I'm worried about him, man. Like they have everybody working on this. What are they thinking? Like there's just no world in which this magically makes sense and becomes super profitable. Like it just doesn't happen. I don't get it. Whoever greenlit that thing is out of their mind. We know who it is. It's freaking Herman, but still, it's just frustrating to see so much time and talent and money wasted on something that everybody else can see doesn't make sense. Like everybody else can look at it and be like, what are we doing? Why? You know, like who approved this? I don't get it. It's just dumb. It's dumb. Like, honestly, at this point, Herman's legacy is going to be how to waste billions of dollars speed run. Like, that's literally what he's going to be remembered for. It's just pathetic, frankly. Anyway, I could rant about Herman all day. Yeah. Yeah, how are streamers like Luke Stevens and Logan Paul so humble? I don't know, man. I'm one of the most humble people out there, though. We all know this. Okay. Anyway, just because I know people will clip it. No, I do not live in a house with 13 bedrooms. Okay. I don't want to hear people then on Reddit going, oh my God. No, I don't. I wish one day, maybe one day. Speaking of one day, let's talk about this real quick. This was not on my bucket list at all. Okay. I'm going to take you down memory lane real quick, fam. Real quick. Are you ready? You ready? Kyle Cuts Vids, thank you for the 10. Windows 11 is patchwork mess of spaghetti software. It has code from Windows XP. Linux optimization floor is significant. It has more potential. A premium Steam machine could scale more than Xbox in theory. Yeah, I think it's just like it matters on what the raw power is and what their targets are, frankly. Like if it's optimization, is always like the secret sauce for something like a Linux machine, like the Steam machine. But like if I have the option between playing a game on my Legion Go 2 or my Steam Deck, I'm going to pick the Legion Go 2 because even though it's less efficient than the Linux machine, the Steam machine, it can brute force its way through, and it's still going to be a better experience after taking into consideration the inefficiencies. It still can brute force its way to better performance. So that's where I just don't know. Like if the Xbox machine really is just, they're on the same level, obviously I'll just go with the Steam machine. But if they can brute force and have a good bit more power to it, that could help a lot. Yeah, look at Switch 2. LOL runs the new RE game. Yeah, I actually have a video coming out on that, which should be very interesting. It looks ridiculously good. Like RE Requiem running on the Switch 2, it's insane. How they managed to do that, I don't know. It's like actual magic. The Capcom devs are insane. Okay, let me show you this though. Talking about something insane. Are you ready? All right. There's a YouTuber with 700K subs that lives in a 10 million house in California. Well, I don't know who that is. Maybe they have money or something. I will say I could rent a $10 million house. That would be very stupid. That could be very stupid, but you can rent it, you know, and then you're like, yeah, I live in a $10 million mansion. It's like, yeah. If your revenue drops by 5%, you're getting kicked out and you're homeless, but okay. Are you ready? Ready? DLSS is magic, dude, literally. New segment. Are you guys ready for something insane? Something I did not have on my bucket list for this entire year, much less today. Do you remember years ago, there was a game that took the internet by storm? In hindsight, we were all really bored. There was not much going on in gaming news. So people started latching on to a game that was shown at a PlayStation showcase. It was shown off. It seemed, I thought it looked like ass, but some people thought it looked interesting. It was a game that people thought looked as though it could actually be part of a hidden message. Work in progress. Captured on PS5. People saw this and were like, what is this game? What is this game?
Your lost ones, away from friends, away from safety. Trying to understand how you got there. No one there to guide you.
Solid 15
no
frames
one
a
there
second.
to assist you. No food, no water. You've got nothing to survive. But the complicated part is, well, you're a prey. A powerless, thirsty, and a weak prey of a strong, blood-loving community led by a religious nutjob. A false prophet that will do anything for power, anything for wealth. And when you realize this, you know it's the end. Your end. But
Dun, dun, dun.
you will never accept this.
Some Unity looking fire and
You will
smoke.
fight for a way out.
Abandoned. If you're like, Luke, what the hell are you talking about? I envy you, my friend. I envy you. Quick backstory. Abandoned was a game, allegedly, that was supposed to come out on PS5 years ago. The reason I say allegedly is because this whole thing was caught up in a scandal. Why? Well, because it all started with a little snippet that you just watched. This. Do you see what's right here? There's writing on this brick wall. What does it say? It says, kill the trespasser. Okay. What's the big deal with that? Kill the trespasser. This tree blocks 2 letters. Kill the, it's kind of blocking the T. T. Trespass. It's kind of blocking the P. TP. Toilet paper. No. PT. PT. Playable teaser. Like that Kojima game. Like the Silent Hill game that Kojima was working on. Nobody had ever heard of this studio before. This studio was called Blue Box. Nobody had ever heard of them. And if you don't remember, PT was in 2014, this thing that took the internet by storm. It came out of nowhere. Nobody had any idea what was going on with it, but it came with just a shadow drop, basically, where it was crazy ambitious. It looked phenomenal, and it was just a really simple playable teaser, interactive teaser, going through a hallway, seeing a lot of really spooky, horrifying things. To this day, people still sell their consoles that have this installed because it was delisted for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. We can look up right now. Let's do it. We'll do it live, damn it. We'll do it live. PT PS4 eBay. Look at this. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Let's find it. Let's find it. Let's find it. A used PS4 selling from Canada with PT installed. They're selling it for 450 Canadian today. Even though this is a original PS4 500 gigabyte console, because it has that installed, they're selling it for 450 Canadian. That's how much people love PT, okay? So PT was iconic. It ended up that it was actually a secret project from Hideo Kojima. He wanted to see if a game could find traction without his name attached to it, just on its own merits. So he created a fake studio and name, published the PT demo under that fake studio, and released it. So people experienced it being like, who the hell made this? What even is happening? Honestly, cool idea. But that's what kind of framed it is, okay, PT was a demo that popped out of nowhere. Nobody had heard of the studio before because it didn't exist before this. And then we played it, and it was actually a teaser for a new Silent Hill game. And when Abandoned started popping off, it was popping off when Silent Hill and Konami and everybody was like totally AFK. They had just stopped doing anything with the franchise. They had a falling out with Kojima. Silent Hill was dead in the water. So people thought, is this the great return of Kojima to Silent Hill? Now, I always thought the odds of that were very, very low. Kojima was working on other stuff, like, of course, Death Stranding. And frankly, this looks like hot donkey ass. It looks like a steaming hot slice of donkey butt cheek. Like, it just does not look good at all. Even like the fire looks like ass. And if you're like, well, just by modern standards, you think it looks bad. Dude, back when this launched, I thought it looked like ass. It's running at like 15 frames a second. It all is super flat. It's weirdly out of focus and also not bright. It looks bad. It looks bad. But dude, people started losing their minds. People were going crazy thinking that this was actually a secret project from Hideo Kojima signaling a start of a new PT game. So they started trying to figure out who was behind it. They found the guy behind it was a guy named Hassan. Not that Hassan. Shocking, I know. But he was working on it. This is all the way back in 2021, to be clear. He was working on it, and he led people along, eventually launched a kind of shell game on PlayStation, and it allowed you to watch little trailers for some reason with the game, and that was it. And the game never launched. Even to this day, I think I have it installed on one of my PlayStation 5s. And it's so insane. Abandoned game teaser. Let me see if I can find the one of the walking. Yeah, this. Look at this. This is one thing they launched after months and months of people waiting. People thought this was going to reveal the Silent Hill teaser. Look at this. This is 1:25 long. I'm not joking. People waited months for this and thought this was going to be Kojima announcing a new Silent Hill game. Okay. Wait for it. Wait for it. Select your language. This application does not contain any playable content. It is intended to demonstrate the upcoming trailers and gameplay demos in real time using the PS5's hardware through this app. All content is rendered 3D images and therefore not a high quality video. Okay, it's like real-time trailer. Okay, interesting. This is what they showed. Trailers, introduction, available now. Cinematic trailer, release trailer, gameplay demos, gameplay demonstration number 2. They had all these things lined up. Available soon. What is this first one? He's going to select it. That's the whole thing. That is the whole thing. That's the whole thing. After all that time, after months, that's what they dropped. Yeah, no, not even the end, just Finn. Playable prologue coming soon. Spoiler, it never came. It never came. It just disappeared. It turned out basically, long story short, even though I realize I've been talking about this for a while, but I am going somewhere with this, I promise. The reason all of this, everything that was happening, was Hassan was a guy. He and his friend or brother, I don't remember which it was, if we ever found out, they were known for doing like asset flips. So they would pump out quick games using free assets, sell them. If you make $100 on it through the Nintendo eStore or whatever, you make some money, move on to the next flip, and you just pump those out. That's what he would typically do, is allegedly what it was, hypothetically. Don't come at me. Allegedly. And basically, he started putting some stuff out about this. And when the internet started freaking out, thinking that this was actually a Hideo Kojima thing, Hassan leaned into it, like a lot. And this is why I stop feeling bad for him. There was a bunch of things that he started posting. For example, like this. Right here. Okay, the Dutch developer working on PlayStation 5 survival game Abandoned sent out a message on Twitter this evening. This was back in like 2021, saying, guess the name. Abandoned equals first letter S, last letter L. Reveal closing in. Is this still up? It doesn't exist anymore. He took it down. So he posted a tweet. I wonder if I can find the archive of it. Let me see real quick. I'm gonna try finding the archive of it. We'll see if we can find a snippet of it. Search. No, let me try Wayback Machine. Yes. Is this it? Maybe somebody snipped it before he deleted it. Maybe. No, it doesn't have it. Basically, he posted a tweet saying the name of our game starts with an S, ends with L. Doing this at the same time, everybody thought that this was Silent Hill. Not everybody. Very few people who were maybe in need of touching grass thought this was Silent Hill. So he leaned into it and he hyped people up, making them think that it was actually going to be Silent Hill. And it wasn't. So he leaned into it, let people get excited. And then when it was revealed that it was not Silent Hill, he had to make a disclosure saying, we want to set things straight. We have no relations with Konami. Silent Hill is owned by Konami. We do not have any relations with Hideo Kojima. It was never our intention to tease the name Silent Hill. We sincerely apologize for this. I do not believe that for a second. Because to me, the whole thing seemed like it was a fake game that didn't exist. It was all fake nonsense. But by leaning in, making people think maybe it was Silent Hill related, he could get people to come in and buy it. And potentially, even if you spend $10 on it or $20 on it when it drops and is 30 seconds long and is just asset flipped garbage, the odds of you getting a refund are so low on PlayStation typically that, you know, you get the money and run. I really do believe, in my personal opinion, that was the original strategy, was to cut and run and take that money and run away with it. You can see even in response, people responding to this. Imagine Kojima behind this account laughing his ass off. Yeah, we believe you like we believed you before. Like, I don't know, man. Yeah, Sony's buying it. We had no relationships. Sony is buying it. No relations with Hideo. Can't have relations with yourself. Never intend to tease the name Silent Hill because the full name is Silent Hill subtitle. Like, this is literally how I know this is joking. This is literally how some people were thinking about it. So the whole thing was just nonsense. But it disappeared. Eventually, Hassan disappeared, and it was clear that this was just all basically a scam. There was no real game. There was nothing there. He got in way over his head. It did reveal a hole in PlayStation's publishing approval process where they let this game that didn't exist end up as a trailer within the PlayStation show. But beyond that, there was no game. And so Abandoned was abandoned, quite poetically, and it was never touched again. That is until very, very recently. The abandoned PS5 fiasco of 2021 has been resurrected. Dev teasing abandoned Gospels of Blood. 5 years after the abandoned debacle of 2021, where Hassan Karaman basically made a fake game and tried to tie it to Silent Hill and Hideo Kojima to drum up interest, it still appears the creator wants to make some kind of abandoned game. Something called Abandoned Gospels of Blood has been spotted on his PSN profile, presumably for testing purposes. Will it ever come out? Of course not. But it looks like Karaman is still trying to make something happen. Abandoned first broke into the scene, blah, 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 kind of going through what we just ran into. And so he is working on something playing Abandoned Gospels of Blood. So he probably is going to try to actually launch something after all this time, which is crazy. But there you are. Yeah, you can see this. At this point, the game basically disappeared after the 2021 debacle, except for a claim of a prologue for the game releasing in early 2022. That obviously never happened. Now it appears that he aims to publish an abandoned game. Who knows where that's going. But did you expect to see Abandoned pop up in the news again? I didn't, but he may actually come out and try to launch something and do something with it after all this time. You know what would be really funny is if it ends up launching and it's really good. That would be freaking hilarious. Okay, sorry for the whole fake games thing, but I promise. Actually, you know, I did it this time. I actually tried. We did it. It would be really funny, but I'll believe it when I see it. We'll believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. There you go. That's the story with it. Yeah. Damn you for all this build up for the reveal of that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was one of the most insane stories in recent gaming history of just like a literal fake game that did not exist dominating online discourse, because in that era of like late 2021, there just was not much else to talk about. So people were bored and started making this story out of nothing. It's why I especially love doing this for a living, is not just because it's a fake job and I make good money doing it, but also because you just never know what's going to happen. Like the idea that ended up being a story and people did believe it. I know it's meme worthy and we're laughing at it now. Dude, people believed it. Actually thought that Kojima was going to drop Silent Hill Abandoned or whatever. And it was him behind it the whole time. Like actually insane. Actually craziness. But yeah, even the people who did the article are not buying it, and that's bad. Well, I mean, it's he said that they were going to have multiple trailers, a teaser, a demo. He said he was going to do all this, and then one day just disappeared. And I think at one point he realized that it was getting so much bigger than he ever expected it to, that he was like, ooh, we might actually kind of be screwed now. Because I think now if we launch in and try to fleece people out of quick cash, we're screwed. What do we do? And so he just abandoned it. But I don't know. Even now, if he were to launch it just for memes, I could see people buying it and trying it. So, you know, maybe he's actually a genius. I don't know. Karaman is Turkish and translates to hero in English or Hideo in Japanese. I remember that, Porter Design. I remember that because people are like, his last name is Karaman, which in Japanese, you know, the version of that name would be Hideo. Coincidence? Turns out yes, but like people actually thought that. People really did believe that was real. I remember making a video on it and seeing comments with like hundreds of upvotes where people were like, okay, when it ends up being Hideo, I expect you to eat crow. Like they actually really thought that. It was just crazy. It was crazy. Hype is a powerful thing, dude. Real serious. Thank you for that one. Maybe the real Kojima Silent Hill were the memories we made along the way. Maybe. Admiral, thank you for the 10. Happy Friday. Your streams make the workday go faster. Have you had a chance to see the two recent Chris Roberts interviews? I've not dug into them, but I did hear that there was a scandal afoot. There was drama in paradise. So I want to do another big deep dive in Star Citizen and revisit it. We've just been busy. It'll probably be like April, probably mid to late April that we really get to it, because I'm assuming that Crimson Desert is going to kind of dominate discourse for a while when it launches. Abandoned guy is pulling a high guard, heads down, working hard, silently. Yeah. Even when nobody wants him to. Even when everybody's moved on and it's like, stop. He's like, no. I'm going to keep going. And we're like, no, seriously, like, we don't care. And he's like, that's exactly why I'm going to keep doing this. It's like, no, go put fries in the bag. Like, we don't care. Stop it. Seriously. It's just another reason why I keep going. He's one of those guys. Yeah. Let's see. Did I read the other one? Drawn out YouTube. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the 10. You deserve this for that shocking reference. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Much love. It is shocking. Yeah. Thank you. Electrifying even. Remember when a big surprise back when a random demo dropping for Silent Hill game by Kojima? Now the big surprise is ending the Game Awards with a live service game. Yes, thank you for that super chat. But yeah, literally, yeah. Like there were times, it's part of the reason why that PS4 era, I was trying to think back. I was like, is it actually just rose tinted glasses or was it actually amazing? And I'm convinced, dude, the PS4 era just actually was amazing. It just, people don't realize nowadays what they're missing out on, man. Like, and it's also why I'm less worried about the Robloxopolis. That was my attempts at Roblox apocalypse. Roblocalypse. I'm less worried about the Roblocalypse, okay, than others. Some people and analysts are freaking out, being like, Roblox is going to kill the gaming industry because all these kids are growing up on it. None of them are buying consoles or playing AAA games. So the industry is going to implode once, the old boomers start dying off and stop buying stuff. I am not that worried about it. Gonna be honest, maybe it's a hot take, but I think that the invisible hand of the market grows and shifts and will adapt. And I have more confidence in young gamers than many others, because I think what will happen is the same thing that happened with mobile gaming and stuff in 2013. Back then, it was all doom and gloom. Mobile gaming is going to kill off console gaming. It's going to kill off PC gaming because everybody's playing games on there. And it was this like doom and gloom over how the industry was going to implode because of it. Just like how everybody was talking about how, there's going to be no movies made circa 2012. People like, nobody's going to make movies in a decade because everything will just be streamed. So everything will be like TV show formats and everything. It's like, no, people grow up, they mature, their tastes change and evolve. And I think a lot of the people playing Roblox, if you give them good games that they actually find compelling, yeah, they're going to grow out of wanting to play Roblox and they're going to move on to something else. You see it all the time where they graduate from Fortnite to Call of Duty, or they graduate from a Roblox to Animal Crossing or whatever. It happens. But you have to give them a game that they find compelling and that they like, that introduces them to that new platform. And they will come. They will come. I just don't believe the doom and gloom where everybody's freaking out over it. Like, I think it'll be okay. It'll be okay. And even like, I think the free market also will adjust for a lot of things, like the fears over AI slop. I think if a studio is known for pumping out AI slop, we've already seen that the internet collectively will mock them into oblivion and not buy their stuff. In which case that disincentivizes using the AI stuff. You might save money, but your game will perform way worse. So what I think is basically going to happen is that you'll end up with like boutique game studios where one of the selling points is no AI tools were used in the creation of this. Like in generative AI, no generative AI. It'll be like, the organic stamp on an apple at the grocery store. It'll be like, oh, this game is no AI certified or whatever. I think that's basically what's going to happen, is that people will be willing to engage with something more and reward it when it's not using that slop. So I think the market will adjust. Like I think as with many markets and industries, it'll adjust and things will change, and that's par for the course. But anybody who's going like full doom and gloom over anything, it's like the market will figure it out and things will change. Yes. But I have more confidence in the industry than I think a lot of other people. Yeah, this game is certified organic. Yeah. Non-AIG. I mean, literally. Yeah, I think that's basically what's going to happen. Because I know. Yeah, clank free product. Yeah, exactly. This wasn't made by some wire back. It's certified, non-robotic, non-AI. I think that's already sort of happening, where we're starting to see studios that are talking about AI all over the place People are engaging with them a lot less. Now, certain segments of the industry don't give a crap. Like I think if Candy Crush moves and is all AI generated puzzles, I don't think Granny doing Candy Crush levels before church service on Sundays, I don't think she cares. I don't think she would even know what that is. So I think they'll be able to do it. The mobile game companies, I think that they'll be able to do it just fine. But console, PC gaming, like that stuff, no. I don't think you'll get away with it at all. There'll be companies that try, but I don't think it'll go well. Okay. Did I see the new gameplay for Control Resonant? Yeah, dude, it looks baller. I was gonna look at it, but I'm not sure if we actually have time at this point to go through it. But yeah, I did see that. It does look really good. We might circle back to it next week. Hold on. Well, I wanted to also touch on this. Let's touch on this. News I meant thing. Ubisoft announced AC Remake, and the title, according to the logo on the art, is Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. Why do you think they dropped the 4 from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag? It reworks their branding for one. They moved away from the numbered entries. It's just, I think the research has shown that actually when you put a number next to the title, it actually creates a bit of a speed bump for acquisition, because people that have never played, because believe it or not, there's people who have never played an Assassin's Creed game out there, and they see a 4, and it gives them a little pause when they're in Walmart and they're looking at the shelf and like, I haven't played the other 3. No. And so they pause. They hesitate. You don't want hesitation. You want them to pick it up and be like, Assassin's Creed. I've heard of Assassin's Creed. Black Flag. It's a pirate game. Cool. That's what you want. And so I think that they're moving away from the numbers just in general. As for the resynced thing, I think the resynced thing is specifically because they are towing the line between remake and remaster. I think it's more than a remaster, but it's not quite a remake. And so by going resynced, it gives them that out. And the other piece is it will allegedly strip out a lot of the modern day stuff that doesn't make sense anymore. So like, you know, that opening sequence where it's like you're in the Abstergo game development studio, and it's basically Ubisoft, but it's Abstergo, you know, they're apparently taking that stuff out, and they're going to take out the stuff where like you're playing the game having fun, then all of a sudden you get stripped out into the modern day stuff that was just a headache. I think they're restructuring all of that stuff. Yeah. If you're having trouble getting into the Discord and you are a member, send me an email, Luke at 28th Ave 28thave.com. Make sure to include screenshots proving that you are a member. But me and my team can send you a direct link to the Discord from there if the Discord auto connect thing isn't working. Okay. We'll hook you up. Luke's wise words: trust the market and praise Todd. You're damn right. I just need a little goddamn faith, Arthur. Faith in the market. C Rob, thank you for the 10. I think Xbox has a chance with this gen's games going multi-platform to make fans to associate Xbox with quality. Next gen exclusives without a PlayStation to sell against could be compelling. I think it's clear if they don't want to do the exclusive thing, because there's a lot of cost to that. It will take like a year or two of having a lot of great exclusives for people to start to really consider maybe buying an Xbox, not necessarily moving from PlayStation to Xbox, but spending the money to invest in the new platform. So I think like that year or 2 years of releasing stuff with very low sales, because you're not even trying to tap into the PlayStation market, that's going to hurt the bottom line without a doubt. I don't think Satya wants to eat that bottom line, you know, damage. So I think they'll keep doing cross-platform stuff, at least for this generation. But if you can instead have your unique angle and your benefit of being on your platform be that you have, without a doubt, the highest powered console by a lot, that's much more compelling, I think. So if they can come out and they're like, oh no, our starting performance is 4K 60, but we can also do 4K up to 120. With the AMD Redstone stuff that we've got. If they can do that, that becomes, I think, much more compelling. So I agree. Let's talk about this real quick. News segment. Okay. Here we are. I want to touch on these two pieces. Okay. I want to touch on these. We got time. Luke Smith, thank you for the 20.
1,723 donated $19.99 through Super Chat. Rest in peace my granny, she got hit by a bazooka. Yay, I think about it every time I hit the hookah. Kaboom, kablow, kaboom. I was in my room trying to teach my little sister. Then I heard a boom. And it sounded like a missile. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Beautiful. Levi, thank you for the membership as well, my friend. Appreciate you. Worried Xbox being PC means it could be hacked? I mean, it's not like their security updates are doing much, so I'd say that's probably a fair concern. Yeah, I think that's right. That's probably fair. Hold on, let me read this before I get distracted again. Okay. Okay. Focus, Luke. Let's see about how many people are calling in sick for GTA 6. I'm saving my vacation time for the day. I think a lot, without a doubt. Difflix, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Thank you for the 5. Can you explain how you beat RE9 in 8 hours? You're getting memed on TikTok and Reels. Glad to hear it. I guess I'm just built different, man. Built different, man. You should try it. Get on my level. Much love. Thank you for the 5. Okay, let's talk about this before I get distracted once more. So there was an article posted. News segment. There was a new article posted yesterday from Stephen Totillo. I still don't know how to pronounce it. I'm very sorry. Veteran Ubisoft, or Ubisoft veteran, explains why the company has been struggling to release new games, let alone make many great ones. Good intentions don't prevent incompetence and mismanagement, which is quite good. But basically, he does a series of interviews, and I encourage you to read through the whole thing. But effectively, he paints a pretty clear picture of just mismanagement across the board. Like, just insane levels of what the hell are we doing. Ubisoft had creativity and spark, demonstrated abundance of artistry and productivity. Then the last half decade happened. Among the lowlights, these are just some of the things that he highlights. The culmination of a decade-long dev cycle for the pirate game Skull and Bones, released in 2024 to middling reviews. To put it mildly, it was kind of insane. Also, though, can we appreciate, out of all of the live service games that have launched in the last, decade, can we just appreciate how somehow Skull and Bones has outlived almost all of them? Like, again, you rewind the clocks 5, 6, 7, 8 years. No one would think Skull and Bones would be the last one standing. That Concord with $400 million, something like Highguard from Respawn devs, something like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League from Rocksteady. No one would have thought that these games would flop and burn and die while Skull and Bones is still getting major overhauls. And it's absolutely crazy. Absolutely insane. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time remake announced in 2020, set for release on January 21st, 2021. That shifted from one studio to another and was canceled this year. Yes, it was delayed 5 years. The reporting, actually, it sounds like it was supposed to drop January 17th. And then I think it was January 19th or 20th, it was canceled. So it was ready to go out the door, but it didn't meet the new quality standards. So they cut it entirely. And already people have seen that some of the people at Montreal who were working on it immediately were put over to work on Hexa. So it's not even really a conspiracy theory. My suspicion is that they canceled it, for one, because I don't think it would have been received very well. I think it was probably pretty rough. But also I think pretty clearly all of the attention is going towards Hexa, and they need that to be amazing. So they decided to just pull people off of it, assign them to Hexa, which actually could make money if it ends up being really good, and just put all hands on deck within Montreal on that project.
But yeah, that's another insane one. A battle royale that lasted less than 2 years. Call of Duty multiplayer competitor that Ubisoft wrote off in 7 months. X-Defiant, of course. A Division game announced in 2021 and then canceled. A Ghost Recon game announced in 2021 and then canceled. A Far Cry game back in 2021 and 0 since. A Splinter Cell remake announced that same year and not seen again. A sprawling Star Wars saga that I liked more than most, released in August 2024 with obvious flaws that needed quick post-release patches, and that triggered a corporate mea culpa and major delay to another game. Basically, a replay of the embarrassment of October 2019 when Ubisoft released a sprawling, messing game that triggered corporate mea culpas and major delays to other games. Yeah, of course, Star Wars Outlaws. They really expected Star Wars to carry the day, just the brand, and it did not. And then a big game that had a teaser trailer in 2008 and is still somehow in development. Of course, that is Beyond Good and Evil 2. It is still in development, going on 18 years later. Amid all of that lack of productivity, to be fair, a smaller Prince of Persia game was one of 2024's most acclaimed releases. It's true, and Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is legitimately very, very good, especially as far as like 2.5D Metroidvanias are concerned. Today, it's been nearly a year since Ubisoft released a big new PC or console game. The release date of the next one is unknown. The company's public calendar for new PC/console games is barren. What in the world has happened to Ubisoft? I recently got one hell of an answer. It comes from a trusted Ubisoft veteran whose observations squared with much of what I've heard from another source or other sources over the years last year, though never stitched together in quite as complete a manner. I found their answer thoughtful and complex with the kind of nuance that I believe will help people consider the challenges afflicting Ubisoft and perhaps other big studio conglomerates. Their analysis requires some setup, but here's a bit of it to give you a sense. For years now, I think Ubisoft has repeatedly failed to create the conditions for an excellent game to be made. Creating a game is a hard task, even when things are going smoothly, which means it's very easy to disrupt the making of a game, which I think without a doubt is true. Like, you cannot have a company with terrible morale, with instability, with constant layoffs and reshufflings and shakeups within managers and directors, and expect there to be cohesive vision and team synergies. Like, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Let's see. Jacob Navok, again, I'm sorry. He previously worked at the president's office at Square Enix Holdings and does a lot of industry analysis, which I always find really, really interesting. And he points out a lot of these things, but to start out his commentary, he wants to start out with a set of quotes from a veteran Ubisoft dev in the interview from Tortillo. Quote, a creative director of a large AAA game is bad at their job, employee for many decades that contributed to many successes before inevitably succumbing to the Peter principle. They are part of the family, yet they are just not good enough for the job. Their chronic indecisiveness, coupled with lack of understanding of how a modern game is technically built, creates chaos and ultimately pain for hundreds of frustrated developers under them. Who is accountable for this situation? Is it the first creative director and their core team? Is it HQ for keeping them at that position despite signs that the project is derailing? When asking the question of accountability, we have to start with the team that created the problem. They are the source of the issue. They have made a bad product. When a manager is forced to change creative directors, that game is now rebooted or forced closed. It is not the CEO's fault the game is bad. It is the creative director and or the team's fault. That could be creative people under Eve. That could be studio heads. That could be individual devs, but it's not Eve. So his point is that, like, this is games being bad is not as simple as just saying it's the CEO. It's much more complex than that. His team's made wrong games at the wrong budgets for too long and badly. And you can see from the snippets that he's clipped here, that's the quote that he just pulled. You can rightly say that it is the responsibility of management, the CEO, to select the creative leadership. In this case, it is also the CEO's responsibility to replace, close, fire when the team or product does not work. That is the job. If every time a manager selected or hired the wrong person below them, both people changed, all companies would be in chaos. Now we get to accountability for the CEO. As the founders of Ubisoft, the Guillemot clan have lost roughly 1.6 billion from the peak of Ubisoft's value to today. They have also been forced to sell off most valuable assets to Tencent. This is like selling your family heirlooms. When dev team members get fired, they lose their future income. The Guillemots have lost the majority of their past wealth. Firing Eve would not make him less wealthy. He doesn't do the job for his cash salary, which is relatively small compared to most public company CEOs. He's paid less than half in cash compensation than Andrew Wilson and earns 8 times less than the median S&P 500 CEO, which is true. My point in my video that we did on Yves Guillemot is that actually, based on like independent analysis, the estimation is with new leadership balancing it out, like if you put Tencent staff in charge and like a Tencent CEO in charge, overnight you would see a spike in Ubisoft's stock price by a pretty significant margin. And Yves Guillemot's his net worth would skyrocket by tens, if not over $100 million in the span of like a week or two, most likely. So he would actually, in a weird twist of fate, if he quit, he would make millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, which is crazy. That like literally if he leaves, he will make more money than if he stays. So clearly he doesn't care that much about money. Like this discount on the stock price is largely because of managerial misconduct and mistakes and mismanagement and poor guidance and lack of vision, like all stuff that lands on the CEO's desk. And so if he left and they put somebody that has vision, this automatically goes up a lot. Again, bear in mind, just the value of Assassin's Creed and Far Cry and Rainbow Six is, according to their own estimations, worth somewhere between $4 and $5 billion. So just on those IP, they should be up here, but they're not. And it's because of the leadership. It's because of the leadership. It's bad. It's really bad. When Wada-san stepped down at Square Enix and became chairman in 2013, we had to prepare a series of media FAQ. We had our first operating loss under his tenure. Ironically, we were beaten to the punch of the announcement by JR at EA stepping down for effectively the same reason. But Wada-san remained as chairman because he wanted to fix the company. He wrote in press FAQ that stepping down is not taking responsibility. Fixing the problem by remaining chairman is taking responsibility. He is correct. The responsibility of management change comes from the board of directors and major shareholders like Tencent. The fact that the board and major shareholders, Tencent, have not asked Yves to step down indicates that they believe anyone else would be a worse outcome. My counter to this, though, is that we don't know that they haven't asked him. If you look at the board of directors for CEO or for Ubisoft, it's majority Yves family members and longtime confidants. Like it's not a totally unbiased crew. Okay, it's like brothers and friends of 50 years. So we don't know if they've asked him to step down, and even if they had it, or somebody stepped in, if Tencent was like, "Hey, we think you should step down," that it's not to say that would actually happen. Not to mention that there's been reporting that Tencent wanted control of the management of Ubisoft as of like 2-3 years ago. They wanted to shake up, and part of Ubisoft's negotiations with Tencent was that they wanted to maintain control. So I kind of have a problem with this sweeping statement because I don't think that this is actually justified based on what we understand it. Based on my understanding, Tencent has looked for new management, but they don't have the ultimate say. The Guillemot family is in control of the board. Occam's razor is that if Yves believed there was a better manager or path for him that included him stepping down, or that if the shareholders felt this way, it would have happened. It has happened many times in business history. He is not clinging to the CEO position because he desperately needs a job. I think it's because at this point he's in his 70s, I believe. And this is shocking. I don't think he cares about money. I think he's a CEO that doesn't actually care about money. He's a multi-millionaire. He's doing very well for himself. He's not struggling financially at all. Even as his company's crashing and burning, he's fine. What I think he's well aware of is that if he were beat out and pushed out, his whole family is fired. If Tencent stepped in, put in one of their CEOs, you better damn believe they're firing every person with a Guillemot last name. Every single person. They're not dealing with that for a second. No shot. No shot. So at this point, I think for Yves, this is a matter of, it's about family. I think for him, it's about family. He doesn't want his family to lose the gravy train. Because it's not about him. He doesn't need the money. His family, though, all of the bear in mind, we're talking brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews, nieces, grandchildren. They all are in upper level positions in management throughout Ubisoft, even though, in my humble opinion, they aren't qualified at all. His son was just put in charge as co-CEO of Vantage Studios, despite previously working at like a laughably stupid NFT AI crypto thing. Like, how is he qualified to run a $4 billion game studio group? He's not. He's not. This isn't even scandalous. He's just not. So to me, it's pretty clear that for Eve, it's not about money. It's about the family. I understand the framing that this is actually about like what he's trying to say. Other studios and other companies have had this where somebody was in a position of leadership, refused to leave, stayed on as chairman to have responsibility to fix it. Maybe that's what Eve would tell you if you talk to him about this. But I'm going to be real. I think it's just because he doesn't want his whole family fired. I think it's that simple. It's pretty straightforward. Continuing, Eve has been held accountable by the shareholders who have hammered the share price. He has taken more risk and lost substantially more wealth than the developers. There's a... if we're talking raw dollars or euros, I guess. Yes, he's lost more millions than the average developer has, because the average developer does not have millions to begin with. But if we talk about proportionality, when 1,000 people get downsized and laid off, the studio shut down, and those people are left without a job, and they have to now move, find a new job, move their whole family, get their kids to new schools. They maybe now are not living close to their family anymore. They miss out on family opportunities. It's like life altering to lose your job when you're not worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So yes, Eve has lost, in terms of raw dollar amount or euro amount, he's lost more money than any of the devs have. That's true. But can we not acknowledge that for Eve, going from being worth $1 billion to only 100 million, or realistically, I think my numbers showed he's probably worth like 150 million down to like 10 million. Can we not acknowledge that like that's not that big of a deal for him? Okay, like it's just not. When they sold that stake of the Guillemot Brothers holding fund, he walked away with like $60 million. Tencent invested $300 million into that group for I think, and then it was split amongst the brothers, who, of which there are 5 of them. So he took 20% of it. So he took $60 million just a handful of years ago. I'm sorry. Like, this is one of those things where I understand what's being said. I agree if we frame it in raw euro numbers. Yes, this is true. He's lost substantially more wealth than the developers. But I think it's kind of disingenuous to not frame how somebody worth $100 million that's now worth $60 million. Yes, he's lost more, but his life has not been altered hardly at all compared to what has happened to the developers that have suffered under his reign, you know. Eve is still wealthy, he continues, but then he was that way before they were paid and employed by him. Okay. Failure does not lead to a justification of removal of wealth, just as a company cannot try to claw back salary from you if you do your job poorly. If you disagree with this, you're not making a business argument, you're making a political argument about capitalism. This is how public companies, especially companies where the founder is still in charge, and took the company public function. I agree. Some people often with these discussions end up just railing against capitalism instead of like what's actually the topic at hand. But what I think the key point is of this counter to, not even counter, this follow-up to Steven's initial article and posting is just simply that Yves Guillemot, I don't think he's motivated by money demonstrably. If he left today, in a week, he'd be worth way more money by millions of dollars, if not tens of millions, to upwards of 100 million. Like he would gain way more money if he left. So clearly he's not motivated by money at this point. I think we can conclude that pretty clearly. So then it's like, is he motivated by responsibility? I think that's the nice way of spinning it, but I think it's more likely that it's because if somebody else takes over, and maybe it's also ego too, you know, it's kind of humiliating to run your company into the ground, then be fired, and somebody else comes in and fixes it. But I think like the most obvious answer to me is that it's to protect the family. Okay. So I saw some people floating this around and they wanted to hear my thoughts on it. But I think, again, it depends on how you spin it. It depends on how you spin it. And I think spinning it as like he wants to take responsibility and fix it. Okay, he's been like doing that for like 2 decades though, dude. Like at some point, I get you want responsibility and you want to fix it. At some point, I think it's clear you just don't know how to fix it. You know, what are we doing? Eve is a millionaire who should be a billionaire. I think he is, we don't know exactly how much he's ever been worth because a lot of his stuff is private, but at one point he was worth, what, 9 figures? Well into the 9 figures. Today he's worth probably around 60 to 80 million. So he's lost a lot of his net worth, without a doubt. Lost a lot of shareholder value, without a doubt. But to act as though that's like something noble, I think is disingenuous. So, yeah, just take your bag and leave the games industry, bro. Yeah, but then all of his family members will be fired. Because when you're in your 70s, it's not like he can go and spend $200 million before he's, you know, before he passes on to the next DLC. For him, like, if he were to retire, he'd want to be able to spend time with his family. That's going to be kind of awkward if he leaves and then Tencent swoops in and fires all of them. Going to be kind of awkward. So I think he's like, the noble thing is to go down with the ship and to make sure that the family stays employed the whole time. I think that's what's happening. Now, to be clear, he can pay them the 200 million for salaries. The problem is that his net worth is tied up in stock. So that's continually plummeting in value. So it's not like he can liquidate it. It's not cash. He can't just liquidate it. And if you were to liquidate $200 million, to put it in perspective, he doesn't own $200 million of Ubisoft. But if you try to sell and dump a lot of stock in a company all at once, the stock price responds by dropping because there's an influx of supply. So it doesn't work quite the same way. But who's the Guillemot heir apparent? The son, Charlie. He's the one that's in charge of Vantage now. But anyway. There you go. We'll see. To be fair, I do think that the people they're putting in charge of, like, say, Assassin's Creed, I do think it is encouraging. I think it's looking better and better. I'm optimistic, but we'll see. You can see even now, the ones who came before, Ubisoft has prepared a quick Assassin's Creed survey for fans. It's a chance to share your thoughts on the franchise today, what it matters most to you as a player, and what you'd like to see from them in the future. And it's literally a survey asking what announcements are you most excited for? What's your opinion of the following lore/narrative elements, so they can see, hey, maybe people really miss the Eden stuff. Maybe they really miss the Isu and first Civ stuff. And so they're like, okay, let's figure this out. And so they're taking all this data in, and then they're actually going to try to gear towards players, which has not been the case for a while. So I think their new leadership seemingly is actually trying to listen to fans, and then they're going to try to give fans what they want. They're kind of done with, or at least allegedly, they're not going to be just trying to force things on people anymore. But we'll see. It's going to be years before we see the aftermath and outcome of all of it. So who knows? Yeah. I was hyped about Mudang 2 Hearts, but it was rumor it was canceled and the studio is shutting down. Oh. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to look it up. I'll look at that up after stream. Let's think about how many people are calling and say, oh, I read that one already. Thank you, Levi, again. Okay, I think we're good. We're good there. Okay, fam. Luke will enjoy the next good AC with his grandkids. That's pretty optimistic of you to think that we'll get to the point where they're really good. Off topic, but Luke, I would love to know what some of your favorite games ever are. I mean, the most obvious ones are like, you know, Red Dead 2, Witcher 3, Breath of the Wild, KCD 2. The less obvious ones, like, well, I mean, Baldur's Gate 3, all of those, but the less obvious ones and more niche ones are probably like, you know, AC2, Black Flag. I really love the OG Red Faction from way back in the day, like 2001, 2002. Freedom Fighters, that's a vibe. Played a lot of that. Elden Ring is an obvious one. Yeah. What are some of the other ones? Oh, Shadow of Mordor. Fantastic. Arkham City. Right in my veins. Right in my veins. KCD 1. KCD 1's good, but it's like once you try KCD 2, it just feels like a prologue to KCD 2. So if I have to pick one of them, I'm going to pick KCD 2, you know? Yeah, Uncharted. I know some people don't like it as much. I really love Uncharted 4. I do. I just do. It's really good. Really good. Niche game called Crimson Desert. Cyberpunk. Yeah, Expedition 33 is phenomenal. Yeah, there's so many good ones. So many good ones. I used to love Freedom Fighters. Damn Wheel. Yeah, dude, for real. Dude, for real. King Cole, if you can only run 1 or 2 live service games out of 20 at a time, doesn't Ubisoft have like almost 10? Let's see, almost 10. 3 that I know of already for year 10. I mean, yeah, well, they're just pumping them out. But I think that that's pretty clear, is that they need to refocus and not just throw stuff at the wall. Because I think for a long time, their approach was just throw stuff at the wall. And then if we occasionally hit one out of the, you know, one sticks, if we hit a ball out of the park, who cares if we miss 10 swings? But the problem is that there's brand damage that comes along with it. When you keep pumping out stuff that most people consider to be garbage, it's going to reflect badly on your company and what they think of it. And that seems to be something they just didn't consider. Hidden One clip this. Look at these questions. They just asked this one in the survey. These questions though, straight to the point. How do you think the Assassin's Creed franchise is evolving over time? Getting worse, staying basically the same, or getting better? Like, they want to know, apparently. Like, they're asking the blunt questions. That's what you'd hope to hear. Has Xbox said anywhere that you can play your Steam games? I bet it's only Windows Game Store. No, I think they've alluded to installing other launchers, playing whatever games you have on the console. If they were to try to launch it and it's just the Windows Game Store, like, or Windows Store, obviously that is DOA. But yeah. Where can I answer that poll? It's going around on social media. People are retweeting it, so I'm sure if you just search, you'll find the link. Okay. I read that one. Okay. Yeah, I loved Uncharted 4. I can't believe people should. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I understand why some people don't like it. That's fine, but yeah. Valve suggests possible further delay to Steam Machine and Steam Frame. We hope to ship in 2026, but as we shared recently, memory and storage shortages have created challenges for us. We'll share updates publicly when we finalize our plans. They might push it to 2027. That's crazy, because we were initially thinking it was going to launch like January, like February of this year. We thought we would already have it. We would have already had it, but the RAM shortage has made it so it's just so expensive. I think that it was already at like $700 is what they thought they'd be selling it, probably $700 to $800. And then with the RAM shortages, I'm sure they'd have to sell it over $1,000. And this thing, I think it's cool, but for over 1,000, I don't think that works, man. I don't think for 1,000 this thing makes sense. So they just start delaying it till they can figure it out. Yeah, delay till 2027 when RAM's double the price even still. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, fam, I'm going to call it there. Much love. Hugs and kisses. You guys have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back on at some point. I'm not sure exactly when, but I should have updates for you soon. Okay. Some cool stuff's going on behind the scenes. Until next time, my friends, much love. Hugs and kisses. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.